Good morning, students. So we have finished the entire chapter now and we have summarized it also. So today we are going to discuss the NCERT question and answers of the chapter number 3 water resources, and this is question and answer solution lecture from chapter 3 water resources, class 10, subject geography. So in this particular lecture we are going to discuss all the question and answers from the NCERT exercise from this chapter 3 water resources. So we are starting now, and at the end of this chapter I am going to assign you one assignment from this chapter only. So we are clear with it, and the test I will let you know when I am going to take it. So we are starting now. So the first question that is given on page number 33, chapter number 3 exercise question number 1, which is a multiple choice question. That is, you have to tell what is based on the information given below. You have to classify each of the situations as suffering from water scarcity or not suffering from water scarcity. So you just have to classify each of the situation which is suffering from water scarcity and which is not suffering from water scarcity. So option A, they have given region with high annual rainfall. So all the regions which are having high annual rainfall. That B, regions which are having high annual rainfall and a large population. Second option is the regions which are having large rainfall with greater population as well. Third option, regions having high annual rainfall but water is highly polluted. So the third option they have given is the regions which are having high annual rainfall but the water is highly polluted. And fourth, regions having low rainfall and low population. So fourth option they are given of regions that are having low rainfall and low population. So we just let go of all the three multiple choice questions and then I will let you know the answer. The second question here is given, which of the following statements is not an argument in favor of multi-purpose river projects. So you just have to choose one statement which is not in the argument in the favor of this multi-purpose river projects. Option A, multi-purpose projects bring water to those areas which suffer from water scarcity. So the multi-purpose projects which bring water to those areas who are suffering from this water scarcity. Multi-purpose projects by regulating water flow helps to control floods. So the second option they are given is about multi-purpose projects by regulating water flow which helps to control floods. Third, multi-purpose projects lead to large-scale displacements and loss of livelihood. So these projects can lead to large-scale displacements and loss of livelihood or not. Multi-purpose projects generate electricity for our industries and for our homes. Do these multi-purpose projects generate electricity for industries and our homes? So which statement you agree? Just keep that in your mind and we'll discuss after we finish the third option. So the third question here is given. Here are some false statements. You have to identify the mistakes and rewrite them correctly. So you have to identify all these statements. You have to write it correctly. So the first statement there they have given, multiplying urban centers with large and dense populations and urban lifestyles have helped in proper utilization of water resources. B, regulating and damming of rivers does not affect the river's natural flow and its sediment flow. Third, in Gujarat, the Sabarmati Basin farmers were not agitated with higher priority was given to water supply in urban areas, particularly during droughts. And today in Rajasthan, the practice of rooftop rainfall was water harvesting has gained popularity despite high water availability due to the Rajasthan canal. So these are the four statements they have given. They might be false or might be true as well, but you have to correct the mistakes which are there in these statements and you have to rewrite them. So now we are discussing the answers. So the answer number 1. So based on the information given below, classify which of the situations are suffering from water scarcity or not suffering from the water scarcity. So the option that we are taking here, the explanation, is the regions with high annual rainfall. So here we are taking the regions which are having high annual rainfall cannot face scarcity of water because the water table is replenished and water bodies do not dry up, so no water scarcity is here. So basically they are saying that the regions with high annual rainfall, but they cannot face the scarcity of water because the water table is replenished and water bodies do not dry up, so there is no water scarcity in that particular region. So they are taking the option number 1, which is region with high annual rainfall. So the answer here is A. And why they are taking it, the classification is because they cannot face the scarcity of water because the water table is replenished and water bodies do not dry up, so no water scarcity. This question you just have to write it down in your class notebook with the explanation. Likewise, how I am writing it, so you have to write it that way only. You have to do these also in your notebook. So question number 2 was, you have to, which of the following statements is not an argument in favor of multi-purpose river projects? So the answer here is C. These multi-purpose projects lead to large-scale displacements and loss of livelihood. So we don't agree with this statement because these multi-purpose projects and large dams have also been the cause of many environmental movements like the Narmada Bachao Andolan and Tehri Bachao Andolan, etc. And the resistance to these projects has primarily been due to the large-scale displacements of local communities, and local people often had to give up their lands, livelihood and their merged access and control over resources for the greater good of the nation. So we are not agreeing with this particular statement. Why? Because these multi-purpose projects and large dams, they are cause of many environmental movements as well, because we are harming the environment. So they are also responsible for certain environmental movements here, which is Narmada Bachao Andolan and Tehri Bachao Andolan, etc. Because of the all the residents of these projects have primarily been due to the large-scale displacement of the local communities. So they have displaced the local communities who were living on those particular areas, and they have displaced those particular people from that particular lands. And these local people also have to give up their land, their livelihood and their merged access and control over resources for the greater good of the nation. So that's why we are not agreeing with this statement that multi-purpose projects lead to large-scale displacements and loss of livelihood. Now the third question here was that some of the false statements were given and you have to identify the mistakes and rewrite them correctly. So we are rewriting each statement correctly again. So the first statement they had given, the false statement was multiplying urban centers with large and dense population and urban lifestyles have helped in proper utilization of water resources. So the correct statement here is multiplying urban centers with large and dense populations with urban lifestyle have added to the water and energy requirement and thus cause the over exploitation of water resources. So here they have written that these multiplying these urban centers with large and dense population with urban lifestyle have added to the water and energy requirement and thus they have caused for the over exploitation of water resources. Thus the second statement they had given about the regulating and damming of rivers does not affect the river's natural flow and its sediment flow. So it does affect. So the correct statement here is regulating and damming of rivers affect their natural flow and cause the sediment to settle at the bottom of the dam. So it does affect the natural flow of the rivers, and it caused sediment also, because the sedimentation which come from the reservoirs caused in the bottom of the dams. The water is settled down there and it is not moving, so it is just creating a hindrance in the natural flow of these rivers. Now the third statement they had given is, in Gujarat the Sabarmati basin farmers were not agitated with higher priority was given to water supply in urban areas, particularly during droughts. So in Gujarat the Sabarmati basin farmers agitated over the higher priority given of water supply in urban areas, particularly during droughts. So in Gujarat they have given the higher priority to the water supply in the urban areas more than the rural areas, particularly during droughts. So all the areas which come under the urban side, they are providing water to those particular areas only, which are particularly during this drought system. Now the fourth statement was, today in Rajasthan the practice of rooftop rainwater water harvesting has gained popularity despite high water availability due to the Rajasthan canal. So the correct statement here is, today in Rajasthan the practice of rooftop rainwater harvesting is on the decline as plenty of water is available due to the perennial Rajasthan canal. So today in Rajasthan the practice of this rooftop rainfall harvesting is on decline because there is a plenty of water is available due to the perennial Rajasthan canal. So they have made certain canals which can help in these things to for this reservoirs in the water. Now we are coming to question number 2. Answer the following question in about 30 words. So explain how water became a renewable resource. And second question here is about what is water scarcity and what are its main causes. Then the third question is, compare the advantages and disadvantages of multi-purpose river projects. So these are the 3 questions here. In the second part we are going to discuss it one by one. So the first question we are discussing, explain how water became a renewable resource. So how water became a renewable resource? Because water is a renewable resource as it is renewed by water cycle itself. It can be renewed by water cycle itself, where 3 processes take place as evaporation, condensation and precipitation. So there are 3 processes that come up with this renewable resource of water cycle itself, which is evaporation, when you know about this cycle which is going on, then the condensation and the precipitation. So all these 3 cycles work under this water cycle system, which is helping to generate water again and again, and this is why we can say that it's a renewable resource. Then this process of water cycle is never ending, and hence water is a renewable resource. So the process of the chain of this water cycle is never ending. It is coming again and again, and that's why we call it as a water is a renewable resource. The water then runs into the rivers and dams where it is used, and the waste is partially cleaned before it makes its route to the sea, and where the cycle begins again. So here they are saying that the water that runs into these rivers and dams where it is used, and the waste is partially cleaned before it makes its route to the sea, where the cycle begins again. So they are telling about the cycle where it runs from and where it's partially cleaned, and then where it takes its route to. So the third point here is, the fresh water is mainly obtained from surface runoff and groundwater that is continuously being renewed and recharged through the hydrological cycle. And this fresh water also is mainly obtained from the surface of this runoff and groundwater that is continuously being renewed and recharged from the hydrological cycles. Now answer number 2. So the question is, what is water scarcity and what are its main causes? So you have to tell about water scarcity and what are its main causes. I have given you this question as an homework also. So water scarcity or water stress occurs when water availability is not enough to match the demand for water. So the water scarcity or water stress occurs when water availability is not enough to match the demand for water. It is caused by an increase in population. It is majorly caused by the increase in population and growing demand for water. So if the population will increase, the demand for water will also increase. And urbanization, the growth of urbanization has also created the impact, the cause of water scarcity. Then industrialization is also one of the big reason here. Wastage of this water resources and the use of an unequal access of this water resources to the other part of the region. So these are major causes here that we can count on: increase in population, growing demand for water, urbanization, industrialization, wastage of water resources and unequal access to it. Then a large population requires more water not only for domestic use but also to produce more food. So all this water is not only using for the domestic purpose but to produce the food as well. So that's one of the reason for the water scarcity we can count it on. Then the ever increasing number of industries have made patterns worse by exerting pressure on existing fresh water resources. Fragile water resources are being overexploited and have been depleted in size. Water scarcity may also be due to the bad quality of water. So the ever increasing number of industries have made patterns worse by exerting pressure on existing fresh water. And a last point here is the fragile water resources are being overexploited here and they have been depleted in many cities. Like if you want to take an example, Delhi is one of the example, and water scarcity may also be due to the bad quality of water. So these are few of the points. Write it in your notebook. And then lately there have been a growth concern that even if there is ample water to meet the need of the people, much of it may be polluted by domestic industrial waste, chemicals, pesticides, fertilizers used in agriculture, thus making it hazardous for human use. So the last point if you want to add in this particular answer is lately there has been a growing concern that if we do meet certain water resources, the water that can fulfill the needs of the people, it may be polluted by domestic industrial waste, chemicals, pesticides, fertilizers which are used in agriculture, and thus it can make it hazardous for human use. Now the third question is to compare the advantages and disadvantages of multi-purpose river projects. So we are going to discuss in points. So these multi-purpose river projects help in irrigation, electricity production, flood control, the supply of water for domestic and industrial use, recreation, inland navigation and fresh fish breeding. So how this multi-river river projects help? So the advantages we can count here are that they help in irrigation, electricity production, flood control, the supply of water for domestic and industrial use, recreation, inland navigation and fresh breeding. It integrates development of agriculture and the village economy with rapid industrialization and the growth of the urban economy. So this is also the advantage here you can count on, that it integrates the development of agriculture and the village economy with rapid industrialization and growth of the urban economy. Now, however, the reservoirs destroy local flora and fauna as well. So now we are going to talk about the disadvantages. So the disadvantages here are that the reservoirs that are there in the dams, they can destroy the local flora and fauna. The dams that are fragment of these rivers, thus making it difficult for aquatic fauna to migrate and for swimming. So basically these dams fragment which are there in these rivers, they can make it difficult for the aquatic fauna to migrate and for swimming. So they can't even live a proper life, they can swim out from this disaster. They have to be there, they can't immerse themselves to go to certain other channels or the other rivers. And these many native villages are submerged and people lose their livelihood with little or no hope of rehabilitation. So basically there are many native villages which are submerged and people lose their livelihood with little or no hope of rehabilitation. Then the dams that were constructed to control floods have triggered floods due to the sedimentation in the reservoir. So it is not even helping to reserve or save us from the triggered floods which are there. It is going to triggering all the floods due to the sedimentation in the reservoirs which are there. Then it was also observed that the multi-purpose projects inducted earthquakes also. They have caused waterborne diseases and pest and pollution resulting from excessive use of water. So the disadvantages measures are that it can also induct earthquakes, it can cause waterborne diseases and pest and pollution resulting from excess use of water. So these are the disadvantages of these multi-purpose projects. Now the question 3 here it is given the answer the following question in about 120 words. So there are two questions that is given. The first one is you have to discuss how rainwater harvesting in semi-arid regions of Rajasthan is carried out, and you have to describe how modern adaptations of traditional rainwater harvesting methods are being carried out to conserve and store water. So the first answer here is that to discuss how rainwater harvesting in semi-arid regions of Rajasthan is carried out. So we are writing in points. So the first is houses in the semi-arid regions of Rajasthan have traditionally constructed tanks for storing drinking water. So basically they have traditionally constructed the tanks in their homes for storing the drinking water, and the tanks could be as large as a big room. So in your home also there are major big tanks which are there, which they are carrying a lot of water for your all the purposes, domestic purposes and for your drinking water as well. So these tanks could be as large as a big room. They are big and a part of the well developed rooftop rainwater harvesting system. So they can also be a part of a big and they can be big and they can be a part of a well-developed rooftop rainwater harvesting system as well. Third, the tanks are constructed inside the main house or the courtyard and are connected to the sloping roofs of the houses through a pipe. So these tanks can be constructed inside the main houses of the people or the courtyard and are connected to the sloping roofs of the houses through the pipes. Now this rain falling on the rooftop travels down and is stored in the underground tanks. So basically all the rainwater which is collected at the rooftop, it travels down and it is stored in the underground tanks. The first spill of rain is not collected as this water cleans the roof and the pipes, and the rainwater from the subsequent spills is collected. So the first spill of rain, it is not being collected, it is there to the water cleans the roofs and the pipes, and then when the second rain comes, the rainwater from the subsequent spills is collected. Next point, this water is used until the next rainy season and it is reliable source of water even after other sources have dried up. So this water is used until there is no rainy season which is coming up and there is no reliable source of water which is there from where you can get water, and after other resources are dried up. Next point, the tanks also help in cooling the houses as rooms built around them have generally low temperatures due to the conduction. So the tanks also help in cooling the houses as rooms built around them have generally low temperatures due to the conduction. Now the last question here it is given is describe how modern adaptations of traditional rainwater harvesting methods are being carried out due to conserve and store water. So the answer is first point, traditional methods of rainwater harvesting like the rooftop method are becoming popular in India. So now these traditional methods of rainwater harvesting like the rooftop method are becoming popular in India. Second point, in Jendathur village, Mysore, about 200 households have adapted the rooftop rainwater harvesting method, thereby making the village rich in rainwater. So there is a village in Mysore, Jendathur. About 200 households have adopted the rooftop rainwater harvesting method, and thereby they are making the village rich in rainwater. Next point, the state of Tamil Nadu has made it compulsory for all the houses to have rooftop rainwater harvesting structures. So they are saying that in Tamil Nadu also, the state of Tamil Nadu had made it compulsory for all the houses to have rooftop rainwater harvesting structures. Next point, there are legal provisions to punish the defaulter. So those who doesn't have the rainwater harvesting system in their home in these particular states, they have certain legal provisions also to punish the defaulters. Next point, rooftop rainwater harvesting is the most common practice in Shillong, Meghalaya. Rooftop harvesting is common across the towns and the villages of the Thar. So basically these rooftop rainwater harvesting is the most common source in Shillong, Meghalaya. Rooftop harvesting is common across the towns and villages of the Thar. In Meghalaya, a 200-year-old system of tapping stream and spring water by using bamboo pipes is prevalent, and about 18 to 20 liters of water enters the bamboo pipe system and gets transported over hundreds of meters. So this is whole as the question and answer solution. Please write it all the question and answers from multiple choice question to till here. You have to write all the question and answers in your main notebook, in your class notebook, and please send me that you have done your work or not, so that I can mark your attendance as well. So there is a little homework that I want to assign you. So this is a small assignment that you have to do from this chapter. There are few questions that you have to do as an assignment, and the test you will conduct the day I will let you know from this chapter. So just practice these questions so it could help you to understand this chapter more, and if you still have queries you can ask me anytime. So the assignment question that I want to give you here is question number 1. Explain any two consequences of changing crop pattern due to the irrigation. So you have to tell me two consequences of changing the crop pattern due to the irrigation. Question number 2. Describe the procedure for rooftop rainwater harvesting. So you have to tell the procedure of this rooftop rainwater harvesting here. Question number 3. Explain any 3 reasons due to which large dams have come under great opposition in recent years. So give 3 reasons due to which large dams have come under great opposition in recent years. Question 4. Examine the ill effects of industrialization and urbanization on water resources. So you have to tell the bad effects, the ill effects of industrialization and urbanization on water resources. Question number 5. Water resources are depleting fast in India and water is a necessity for life. Suggest 3 measures to conserve water. So you have to tell what are the why water resources are depleting fast in India and why water is a necessity for life. So just 3 measures to conserve water. And question number 6. Why is rooftop rainwater harvesting important in Rajasthan? Explain. So this is the assignment and this is the homework that I want to give in this particular lecture. Please do it. And if you still have any queries in this chapter, you can ask me anytime in the comment section or on the student query section. Please do it very sincerely and very honestly, and please take care of your health. This is whole as a lecture. We have finished the entire chapter now and we'll start with the next chapter in the next lecture. So thank you so much class.